Photographs preserve significant moments and experiences of the past that might otherwise fade over time. Through these photos, attempt would be made to capture the moments, allowing us to relive them. They activated not only the recollections of the events portrayed in them but also its associated memories, further enriching the recollections. Put together, it would give the viewers a very vivid description of the lives well spent of PMA Mintatog Class 1971. The recollections come in 5 parts. The story relives their lives as cadets of the Philippine Military Academy. We begin by showing photos of the buildings and structures as it exactly appeared when they first entered PMA in 1967 up to the time they graduated in 1971. The sight of which evoke pleasant, or unpleasant, memories of their experiences as cadets. They are convinced that certain memories and emotions would not arise if they are not back in a particular place, giving them the feeling that those places hold their pasts for them or with them. This is Milcor Hall building, constructed in 1950, that housed the academic offices and classrooms and tactics department of PMA at the 1st and 2nd floors. The cadet barracks are at the 3rd floor. The cadet corps then in 1967 consisted only of a little over 300 cadets, distributed in the north and south wings of Milcor Hall. These were the hallways inside Milcor Hall. The hallway served as the formation area when it was raining outside. This hallway had been silent witness to the many sufferings that plebeis encountered during formation. During after-office hours and weekends, the hallway and the 3rd floor not only served as passageway but instant area reserved for punishing lax plebeis by ordering them to do almost endless physical exercises. Regis Hall was the 2nd cadet barracks after Milcor Hall. It was under construction when Class 71 were first-year cadets. At the construction site south of Milcor Hall, they remembered the sign posted at its fence, "From this site shall rise the future cadet barracks." They occupied it by May 1968. Another notorious place for plebeis in 1967 and early 1968 was Yap Hall, cadet mess where cadets took their meals. Many untold sufferings of plebeis occurred at this place. Later on, it was transformed to a medical dispensary after they moved to the new mess hall in May 1968. In summer of 1968, the construction of the new mess/dining hall, retaining its name as Yap Hall, was finished and messing was moved to this new building. At the foreground is the sacred parade ground called Borromeo Field. This is where formal parades and inspections were held. The grandstand at the background is usually filled with guests watching a Saturday inspection and parade or Sunday evening parade. During summer, the grandstand became open classrooms for military science and tactics subjects. This is Gerardo Hall, the physical education complex of cadets. Inside is the gymnasium. The elevated stage at its north end served as venue for graduation ceremonies, shows, and other events. The basketball court at the middle also served as dance floor during hops/parties. This is the 2-story triple lab. The 1st floor was the lab for thermodynamics classes. The 2nd floor served as the dental clinic. April 1, 1967. Minutes away from plebe reception, the incoming cadets had a rest stop at Camp 6 prior to its final drive to Fort del Pilar. The smiles were already gone because of uncertainties and anxieties of what would happen to them at the incoming plebe reception. There were 5,457 prospective candidates who applied to the Philippine Military Academy, PMA, and only 3,537 finished the examination given from December 22 to 23, 1966 on various parts of the country. Only 307 passed the written test. After a rigid medical and physical examination, it was trimmed down to 148 young boys. They comprised the PMA class of 1971. Shown in this photo, the new cadets were formed into 5 platoons of the new cadet company in front of the grandstand waiting for the upperclassmen to receive them. The PMA Class 71 formally started cadet life on April 1, 1967. It marked the start of the 6-week Beast Barracks aim to weed out from the group the weak and unmotivated, not fit to pursue the military career. Indeed, there were some who went on AWOL. The new cadets, regarded as lowly beasts, were trained about military basic drills. Significant bonus, they were honed to be responsible men, to increase their threshold level for physical and psychological pains, and to develop in them patriotism. During their first day in the cadet mess/dining hall, they had their first meal while sitting stiff. Upperclassmen yelled at them to brace up, heads back, chin in, and clip our wings. They were introduced to square meal plus the different duties of plebeians on the table. True to the Academy's vision, PMA stands as the bastion of discipline and excellence, forging the ground for the nation's finest military leaders. At the summer camp, the training was fast-paced as they started from the very basic of learning basic military drills as shown in this photo. Under pressures, they were told to maintain a disciplined and focused demeanor, to follow strict rules regarding posture, respect, observe off-limits, and avoid familiarity with upperclassmen. Violations were meted with punishments until doing the right thing became a habit. They were indoctrinated to adhere to the Academy's honor code and to practice living with the basic tenets courage, integrity, and loyalty in mind. The Academy's austere regimen is designed to shape cadets into individuals of unwavering character, equipped with the fundamental skills and virtues necessary to serve their country with honor. But it would not come easy, as they had to endure the hard life full of punishments like these three shown in the photo. The plebeians at the steps of Melchior Hall looked haggard and sad. This year-long hard life had developed in them toughness to handle any pressures and survive difficult times. Camaraderie developed due to shared hardship bonded them together even after graduation from PMA. By the end of March 1968, they were recognized during a formal rite attended by their parents. Their 1 year of hardship and sacrifices were over. Those who survived after the rigors of plebhood had gradually built their resilience to the physical and psychological demands of military training. Then, they began their lives as yearlings or second-year cadets devoid of pressures and harassment. Photos at Fort Magsaysay. Early on as yearlings, they were trained about soldiery, discipline and leadership. In Fort Magsaysay, Lore, Nueva Ecija they learned to use basic and advanced weapons like grenades, mortars, recoilless rifles, and tanks, marksmanship training and conducting raids, ambushes, and night navigation. There is misconception that life in PMA is all about parades and inspection. This is a myth. Most of their times as cadet were spent on academic preparation towards attaining the bachelor's degree after 4 years of academic work. At night, they were required by cadet regulation to stay in their room sitting at desks to study, review course materials, and work on assignments. Visiting other rooms aside from theirs was a violation of regulations and meted with punishments. The second photo at the right showed them at the sundial carrying their school bags prior to forming and marching to the classrooms. From the hectic military and academic training, they took advantage of every opportunity to entertain themselves as a respite from the rigors of repetitive everyday life in the Academy. The laughter served as a rejuvenating spirit that reinforced camaraderie and fellowship among them. At the 100th night show, to commemorate the last 100 days of the senior cadets before graduation, some of them became instant entertainers. Some played the role of women during the show, as the corps was then made up purely of men. Women were first admitted to PMA only in 1993. Singing groups were organized. One of them was the legendary singing group, the Four Winds and a Shadow. The 5-man singing group became instant celebrities not only during the 100th night show as they performed on parties and weddings. Cadet hops/parties were organized every now and then so they could hone their skills in finding their cadet girl and socializing with drag/cadet partners coming from schools in Baguio and Manila. In here, they had the opportunity to practice the art of etiquette taught to them for their full transformation to become an officer and a gentleman. Sometimes at night and when the officer in charge was not around, they kept alive the traditional practice of brutal fighting. Rice, scouted from the mess hall, and sardines spread over an old newspaper became delicacies. It became more fun as others joined in when the lights were turned off, turning it to free-for-all fight. Thanksgiving Day was a fun day. Cadets, for this time only, were allowed to roam around, banter, and mingle with other cadets from other tables. Prior to this event, plebeis were ordered to hang decorations over the table. The only time when smoking cigars and cigarettes was allowed in the mess hall. But not all times were fun, especially for those cadets exceeding the monthly allowed demerits or violating cadet regulations. For this group, it meant spending time in drill B uniform with combat boots and carrying M1 rifle, doing punishment tours, marching back and forth like what the cadets were doing in these photos. There were acts of heroism. While on Christmas vacation at home, 2nd Class Cadet Archie Almario 71 rescued and prevented the burning of children from a building on fire. For this feat, General Manuel T. Yan, AFP Chief of Staff, awarded him a Bronze Cross Medal. It was the first time that a PMA cadet received the Bronze Cross Medal while still a cadet. 2 months later, in February 1971, he received the Cavalier Award for this achievement. Cadets also participated in sports competition outside the academy. During the 1970 National Open Wrestling Tournament held at Bacolod City, PMA Wrestling Corps squad competed with teams from colleges and universities from Manila and elsewhere. The Wrestling Corps squad, many of whom were from class of 1971, won the National Open Championship award, beating other bets. Photo shown here as the team officer in charge received the trophy on behalf of the team. As they strived to excel in athletic competition, they learned that winning is only second to their love of the game itself. They learned to accept defeat with grace. Their senior year gave them the chance to practice military leadership at the highest level of the Cadet Corps ranks. The first-classmen were rotated to get a feel of the different senior leadership positions. The photo shows the final batch of regimental commander and his staffs parading before the grandstand at Camp Aguinaldo during the observance of AFP Day in December 1970. The graduating cadets during the graduation parade held at the Borromeo Field as they reviewed the Cadet Corps minus as it passed before them. Included in the graduation activities was the traditional dunking of the new graduates done after the graduation parade. It could have been a perfect day for the graduating cadets, what with their parents and friends joining them in the different graduation activities. The mood was changed when the mother of their Mr. Wilfredo Tapia received the diploma for him. Willie died of leukemia exactly a month before graduation. 109 graduated on April 2, 1971 after having been trained to possess the character, military skills, and the education essential to their successful pursuit of our progressive military career. The President was the guest of honor. Their first day as commissioned second lieutenant/ensign of the Armed Forces of the Philippines on the night of April 2, 1971, as their parents pinned the rank insignia over their shoulder boards. A few days after graduation in PMA, Miles and Ching Malena were the second couple from their class to get married. Nick Varona was the first who married Joy during the night of the graduation day. In this photo, the young-looking second lieutenants/ensigns in their crisp formal military dress were guests/sword sponsors during the wedding. After a short leave, the different groups of the newly graduated officers from PMA 71 were required to undergo basic training. The Philippine Constabulary Group had their PC officers basic course at Camp Pinopio, Quezon City. The Navy had their Naval Officers Qualification course at Cavite Naval Base. The Philippine Army undertook Special Forces training as required by General Rafael I. Lato, the Philippine Army Commanding General. Shown in this photo were selected Army officers who also underwent airborne training in 1972. For the Air Force Group, many were assigned at Fernando Air Base to undergo pilot training. Show here are 3 of the Air Force student officers with their flight instructor. They were trained to fly the basic trainer, T-28 Trojan. In 1971, the country was confronted with security threats from the local communists. Young 71 graduates of PMA were deployed in Pampanga and Isabela to confront the threat from the local communists. Muslim secessionists in Mindanao posed the most serious threat to national security. Members of the class were everywhere in the south, in Sulu and Basilan, north and south Cotabato, Lanao del Norte and Sur, Zamboanga del Norte and Sur, and Davao del Sur. Shown in this photo is Jinky Garangan from the Army. He became the first battalion commander of the class and the youngest AFP-wide that time. Of course, it was only a paramilitary force, but it was well armed and organized. Romy Dominguez, in Pigcawayan, and Melacosta, in Nuling, would soon follow. In the field the Matatags bonded together if time would permit. In this photo, 2 Air Force helicopter pilots had bonding moment with an Army officer of the class in 1973 in the hotbed of secessionists movement in Mindanao. Search and destroy rats with First Lieutenant Jerry Albano's team in Tipo and Bohelabong, Basilan Island autumn 1974. During the early phase of the war in Mindanao, Class 71 had contributed their fair share of casualties and injuries. They had 2 deaths and 5 wounded to the government's list of deaths and wounded during the early phase of the war in Mindanao. Captain Wency Cruz of the Philippine Marines was Battalion EXO, 6th Marine BN, assigned at Bataraza, Palawan. Wency rose to become commander of one of the Marines battalion landing team in the 1980s. The legendary class of 1971 during the aftermath of the successful 1986 February People Power Revolution. The class became famous or notorious depending on whose side of the camp you belong. How did the revolution start? Before that, corruption was widespread. Troops were neglected. There were cheating in the election. It was during this turbulent time when the Reform the Armed Forces Movement, RAM, spearheaded by PMA 71 Corps Group, was born. Threatened with arrest, they rebelled. Not all joined the movement. To a few Mista, rebellion was superfluous. When asked for support, 1 or 2 refused the use of its battalion/unit. They stuck with these beliefs during the 1986 revolution onward. Still, the RAM went on. The rest was history as RAM triumphed in the world-renowned February 1986 EDSA People Power Revolution. Shown here are Matatags celebrating with RAM leaders after EDSA 1986 revolution. Succeeding coup attempts after the dreams of the reform group stalled, however, muddled the hero's picture of many members of the class. Displaced officers who joined the coups suffered, but they endured and eventually rose again back to the mainstream. Despite the temporary setbacks due to the coup attempts, at least 21 provincial/metro district commands were assigned to 71 belonging to the Philippine Constabulary/INP. 11 Army Infantry battalions, as this one battalion in photo assigned over the Sierra Madre Mountain, were under the command of the Army Group. The PF Group commanded at least 8 squadrons, the equivalent of battalions in the ground force. Almost all of the remaining Navy captains, out of the original 11, had commanded major naval seacrafts, patrol vessels, destroyers and LSDs. Shown here were newly promoted generals from the class taking their oath of office before then-President Gloria M. Arroyo. Of the 52 who remained in the service till full retirement, 7 attained the full colonel's rank. 45 rose to become generals. The list included 17 brigadier generals, 18 major generals, and 7 lieutenant generals. 2 were promoted to become the chief of the Philippine National Police with the 4-star rank. 1 was appointed as Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines with the 4-star rank. 1 served as Vice Chief of Staff, a 3-star position. 1 held the position of Acting Commanding General of the Philippine Air Force. The rest took over major commands. They led Army infantry divisions and brigades. Northern Luzon Command, its commander is shown in this photo. Air Force Tactical, Base and Logistical Commands, Navy's Philippine Fleet and Western Command, and Philippine National Police Regional, Tactical and Special Commands. While a few faltered, many Matatag 71s distinguished themselves in their chosen career, be in the military or private life. The Cavalier Award is the highest recognition given to a PMA alumnus or alumna with outstanding achievements in their respective fields. The class, with 20 Cavalier Awards, is second to Class 51 with 26 awards, for the highest number of Cavalier Awards for a single class. Class 55 is third with 19 awards. The class, so far, is also leading for the highest number of Lifetime Achievement Awards with 5. For the Matatags, there was life after retirement from the military/police service. The class continued to have a great impact on Philippine history. The class remained visible in government, business and community service. In this photo, Ray Velasco was taking his oath of office as member of the Manila Waterworks and Sewerage System MWSS Board of Trustees, and also as chairman of the MWSS, in February 16, 2017. Early in his political life after service retirement, Ray Velasco won the May 2007 local elections for mayor of Santa Barbara, Pangasinan. He was the first Matatag to hold local elective position. A number of Matatags turned to politics. 2 of them were elected as senators serving the same term in 2001. A first among PMA classes. Former police chief Panfilo Lacson shook the hand of Greg Honanan in this June 5, 2001 photo as the 2 of them celebrated their victory in the May 14, 2001 senatorial elections. In a rare PMA class photo, the 2 Matatags sitting side by side in a Senate committee hearing. In terms of educational achievements, PMA Class 71 has 3 lawyers, 2 PhD holders, and at least 33 with master's degrees in various fields. Among them with the PhD degree is Ricardo F. De Leon, shown here, the first PMA alumnus to head a major university system as president of the Mindanao State University, MSU, right after his retirement from the PNP. Marciano Painter Jr., a constabulary officer turned accomplished diplomat, has excelled in the diplomatic field. He is shown here in 2014 photo receiving the California Legislature Award for Outstanding Achievement as Philippine Consul General in San Francisco. Also, he successfully directed in 2017 the Philippines' hosting of the annual talks among the leaders of the 21 Asia-Pacific economies. Currently, he is an undersecretary under the Office of the Executive Secretary. Tiborcio and Fusilero 71 PNP received in 2025 the Cavalier Award for Special Field on Environmental Protection. For 25 years, Fusilero led the Cantapa Ecosystems Enhancement and Protection Foundation Incorporated for the rehabilitation, protection, and conversion of 504 hectares of timberland in Sitio Cantapla, Barangay Tabunan, Cebu City. In this period, the foundation was able to plant 379,183 dipterocarp fruit-bearing trees, restoring the area and making the place a home to vast species of flora and fauna. Due to this effort, the area is currently acknowledged as the last remaining rainforest in the entire Central Cebu under the Central Cebu Protected Landscape. At present, he seeks to protect the area from individuals who wish to own a land in the protected rainforest area through legal titling, sale, occupation, and building of illegal structures. Banking on his clean record and accomplishments as senators for 3 terms, Matatag Pinglacson filed for certificate of candidacy for president in October 2021. On October 7, 2024, Greg Honasan filed for his certificate of candidacy for senator for the 2025 national election in a comeback bid for senator. He entered politics and became a senator from 1995 to 2004, and again from 2007 to 2019. He ran for vice president of the Philippines, being Jejomar Binay's running mate in 2016. Pinglacson filed his certificate of candidacy for senator for the 2025 election on September 26, 2024. Ping served as a senator for 3 terms, from 2001 to 2013 and from 2016 to 2022. Former Philippine National Police, PNP, Chief Edgar Aglipe officially filed his certificate of candidacy for governor of Cagayan on Monday, October 7. Aglipe, from being the chief, PNP and chairman of the Philippine Retirement Authority, is now the successful CEO of the M Group of companies with 5 business groups. As of 2025, 81 of PMA Class 1971 are still living. 30 already passed away. PMA 71 is leaving behind a unique great life stories legacy. It tells of how military careers evolve and end, how rebels are created, and how a single class can produce 2 senators, 2 ambassadors, 1 cabinet secretary, 1 major university president, 43 generals, more than 475 medals for exemplary service, successful government officials, lawyers, CEOs, commercial pilots, technocrats and entrepreneurs. Conclusion. As recalling memories of the distant past is becoming harder as they age, the class of 1971 is leaving it to their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren and other future generation to discern through these photos with vividness, nostalgia, exhilaration, and endearment, and be enlightened of memories that have impacted their lives to what they have become, understand why they have raised the next generation to what they are today. The way ahead is too short. The remaining members want to keep those memories forever while still living, but they simply can't due to age. As they fade away, they have a wish for those whom they will leave behind. Honor them and spread the words about them to the long lines of the incoming generation or clan. God bless us all. Thank you for watching.